We all love Goku, but let's face it, the guy's a bit of a glory hog. That's why we at CBR are taking special care to pay attention to all those Dragon Ball characters whose power deserves more respect. Back in the day, Frieza was the biggest game in town. With all the hype surrounding this evil galactic warlord before he appeared, he was basically DBZ's version of Thanos. The pint-sized psycho was responsible for the destruction of planet Vegeta, Namek, and a solid year of productivity. Seriously, did anyone get anything done when those daily Frieza fights were dropping? I certainly didn't. Alas, those days are long gone for everyone's favorite DBZ villain. While he still shows off his skills as an evil genius, his power level is no longer as harrowing as it once was. Gone are the days that Frieza could survive everything that Goku had in him just to walk it off. Ever since Future Trunks flipped the script on Frieza and diced him to bits, things haven't been the same, which is unfortunate because his potential power is off the charts. Goku and Vegeta may be literal gods now, but they got that way after years of training. Frieza trained once in his whole life and achieved his Golden Frieza form, comparable to Super Saiyan God power levels. Just think, if Frieza could get on a regular exercise routine, he might be the most powerful force in the galaxy again. I feel your pain, Frieza. Leg day hurts. Gohan is one of the best characters in the entire franchise. His arc takes him from a scared little kid to the savior of the entire world, so what happened? For a brief, beautiful second in DBZ, it seemed as though Gohan was going to surpass his father once and for all to take the place as the protagonist of the entire series. During the Cell Games finale, Gohan proved that he was worthy to be his father's son by taking out the big bad with what has to be the best Kamehameha in the entire series. Since then, though, nothing near that level of cool. We started getting the hint that things weren't gonna move Gohan's way when he became the Great Saiyaman. This superhero parody fell pretty flat for most fans who were hoping to see more of that awesome Gohan from the Cell Games. Things looked up when Gohan got a power boost during the Majin Buu saga, but that fell to the side as well. Gohan is training again and is trying to create a base form more powerful than Super Saiyan, but we'll see. Like every single kid who played JV soccer at my junior high, sometimes you need to learn the hard way that you peaked real early in life. In any other anime, a character like Raditz would be a huge deal. The main character of the series has an evil older brother who's also a jacked-up space pirate? That would be at least a major arc in any other series. In Dragon Ball, though, Raditz's arc was just the appetizer. This is one of the greatest showings of wasted potential in the entire franchise. Raditz was not only a twisted take on Goku, but a potential rival for Vegeta as well. If he and Goku share the same genes, it's likely that he has the potential for Goku's amazing power level as well. It's sad that he never got a chance to show it. One could easily see a world where Babidi could have raised Raditz from the grave to mess with Goku and Vegeta. This could have reminded Vegeta of his darker days and forced his hand into Majin Vegeta, especially if Raditz was upgraded all the way to Super Saiyan 2. Oh well, Dabura was nice, I guess. I don't even really need a canonical Raditz resurrection. One of the non-canonical movies that featured a Super Saiyan Raditz and Nappa team-up would have been awesome. You'd think they would have pulled that out before they did that Lord Slug one. I still remember when I first saw the Toonami commercial for Frieza's first big return. The evilest of DBZ villains was coming back, and this time with a cybernetic body and an even badder attitude. And not only that, but this time he wasn't coming alone. King Cold was the original galactic warlord. Everything Frieza had was built on the back of King Cold's expansive empire. So it truly seemed like he should be just as formidable and evil as his wicked son was. Only things didn't exactly work out that way. Despite the fact that there was a ton of hype around him, he barely lasted a few episodes before Future Trunks obliterated him with almost no effort. It was quite the blow to the warlord's ego, and quite the blow to my excitement as well. Though it did give Future Trunks the coolest entrance in the entire franchise. The sad thing is that King Cold could have been extremely cool. He led a vast army that planned on overtaking Earth. It's easy to imagine a world where an entire arc was formed around the galactic conflict between Earth and Cold's army. For that matter, they could have done a full family reunion and had Cooler join the party. It would have been a lot better than the Garlic Jr. filler arc that we got. Before we go any further, I need to come clean about some bias. Piccolo was my all-time favorite Dragon Ball Z character back in the day, and it's not hard to see why. In the early days of the series, he took out both Raditz and Goku. He trained Gohan to be a warrior and sacrificed himself to save his arch-enemy's son. All of this happened within only a few dozen episodes. Piccolo started out DBZ with one of the coolest arcs in the franchise. Unfortunately, things never turned out to be that cool for the Namekian hero ever again. Sure, he did get to take on Frieza and was the first to get involved in the Cell mystery, but he's never really been an A player since Vegeta took over the villain-turned-anti-hero role that Piccolo established for himself. He can barely even be considered a rival for Goku anymore. His techniques are still flashy and interesting, but he's been relegated to the sidelines. I want to see an arc in Dragon Ball Super where Piccolo comes back big time. How cool would it be if Piccolo somehow managed to ascend to god power? You can't tell me in all that Namekian lore that they've never had a Namekian god. Back in the Dragon Ball tournament days, there was one brutal enemy who we were all rooting for Goku to take down with a vengeance. It might be hard to see now, but the friendly Tenshinhan that we all know and love used to be the biggest jerk since Johnny Lawrence in The Karate Kid. Just like Johnny Lawrence, though, eventually we found out that he wasn't actually all that bad. Unlike Johnny Lawrence, this meant that his days of being one of the toughest martial artists in the franchise was now over. Now, you could write this one off as Tien just being a one-hit wonder, but there's one DBZ moment that showed Tien still had potential. Old Three Eye fans no doubt will remember the moment of the Cell Saga when Tien valiantly held off the much more powerful Cell with an incredible display of power from his repeated tri-beams. This showed that Tien had the potential to be a contender once again. It would have been really cool if the series found some way to make use of his bizarre talents in Dragon Ball Super in a major way. Where's Tien's Cobra Kai redemption? Oh, Yamcha, you poor bandit. In Dragon Ball, Yamcha was one of the coolest guys around. He was the original anti-hero rival to Goku long before Piccolo or Vegeta showed up in the series. With his wolf-fang fist and his mean streets attitude, he was the perfect contrast to the relatively innocent Goku. In fact, it would be fair if you thought that he would go on to be one of the principal characters in the franchise. Unfortunately, life had other plans for poor old Yamcha. You see, Dragon Ball Z was not kind to the Wolf Warrior. He trained harder than he ever had before when he got the news that more warriors like Goku were headed to Earth. All that training turned out to mean very little though, as he was wiped out in the opening attack by Vegeta and Nappa's Cybermen. The guy put in all that work to not even make it to the main bosses. Then he continued to train in the afterlife so that he could come home and get his life with his beloved Bulma back. Unfortunately for him, he would discover that Bulma now had eyes for Vegeta, the very same man responsible for his demise in the first place. You know, that's gotta hurt harder than the Cyberman explosion did. Well, at least he'll always have baseball. Dragon Ball Z doesn't exactly have a plethora of cool female warriors. For the most part, they just have Android 18. Honestly, her start in the series was pretty fantastic. Along with her brother 17, she made up a cold, detached duo that destroyed an entire alternate Earth. This makes her one of the most formidable foes the series has ever produced. If knowing that alone wasn't enough, she also served up what might be the most disrespectful defeats in Dragon Ball Z history. That's right, I'm talking about that time she kicked Vegeta's arm so hard that it probably still cracks every time he moves it. Unfortunately, the series hasn't really focused as much on her character since. Her love story with Krillin has kinda taken over her character arc. Not only that, but Android 17 frequently steals all the glory for the pair. Honestly, between the two, 18 was the one who maybe should have won the Tournament of Power. 17's victory was certainly a surprise, but 18 had a lot more motivation to save the multiverse. She'd truly changed over the years with Krillin, and it would have been the perfect way to cap off her journey. Goten and the younger Trunks used to get a whole lot more screen time back when they first appeared in the Majin Buu arc. Both of them were set up as rivals/best friends that mirrored their fathers. Unlike their fathers, though, they didn't let this stand in the way of them becoming a united front. That's why, when it came time for the two to fuse together, they were genuinely excited instead of low-key forced into it like Goku and Vegeta always were. Gotenks was a fan-favorite character in the Majin Buu arc. His fight against the evil pink monster was one of the highlights of the entire saga. Gotenks was fun, energetic, and brought in the perfect lighthearted tone that DBZ didn't always have compared to its predecessor. I just wish that Dragon Ball Super would have made more room for him. You gotta admit that Gotenks would have been pretty cool in the Tournament of Power, even if he wasn't technically allowed. Okay, so I've already come clean about how much I loved Piccolo, so it should be no surprise that when Pikkon was introduced, I thought he was the coolest new introduction since, well, Piccolo. Pikkon was Goku's rival during his second afterlife. They had a brief friendship during the Otherworld tournament. He also proved himself to be insanely powerful by even Goku's standards as he took out Cell and Frieza with hardly any effort. Truth be told, I kept expecting to see him return during the Majin Buu arc. Wouldn't you have loved to see him and Piccolo square off against each other or even fuse into a super moody green warrior? Unfortunately, I don't think that's ever gonna happen. And that's why you should never get attached to filler characters. I just keep learning that lesson the hard way. So there you have it, every single Dragon Ball character who had their power wasted in the series. Which character in the series do you think should have been given more attention? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more from CBR.